G'day, it's Shane Dowling here from kangaroocourtofaustralia.com. Now today at the New South Wales Independent Commission Against Corruption, it became very clear that the former New South Wales Premier, Gladys Berejiklian, intends on naming other politicians that have been having intimate personal relationships which they haven't declared. And we know that because the barrister acting for Gladys Berejiklian, Sophie Callan, SC, started asking the former New South Wales Deputy Premier, John Barilaro, about his intimate personal relationships and whether he'd declared them all. She didn't ask him once, she didn't ask him twice, she hit him up 3 times. Why did she hit him up 3 times? Because he was ducking and weaving. She knew it. Now when she's hit him up a 3rd time asking him about intimate personal relationships, he's gone, that's a difficult question. Well, no, it's not a difficult question at all. It's a very simple question. Now the reason Sophie Callan has asked him 3 times, she was trying to lock him in. And he has been locked into his answers now. And on Thursday and Friday, Gladys Berejiklian will be hopping in the witness stand. I can tell you now, at the very least, her barrister going to ask her whether she's aware of other personal, intimate relationships that at least John Barilaro has had, and quite possibly one has to suspect she might ask a very broad question. Do you know any other intimate personal relationship that other MPs have had, or other senators? They've got an upper house there in New South Wales. So it looks like that Gladys Berejiklian is going to nuke the whole thing and just blow it wide open. There's 2 benefits for Gladys Berejiklian doing that. Number one, it undermines the whole credibility of all the witnesses against her. Because here they are saying, yes, we'd do something different if we had known about the personal relationship with Gladys Berejiklian and a former boyfriend, Narelle Maguire. But it's common knowledge that at least John Barilaro has been having multiple affairs over the years. And so she's going to at least raise that, and a barrister has flagged it. She's hit John Barilaro up 3 times. She didn't do that by mistake. That's not some off-the-cuff question. She's drilling down, locking him into the question, making sure he could have answered it if he wanted to, but he hasn't, which is just as good. Either way, she wins. Because she hasn't answered it, I think they'll be supplying evidence, or at least evidence from Gladys Berejiklian from the witness stand on Thursday and Friday when she's in the witness stand. So it undermines them and their credibility. So for any potential criminal proceedings later down the track, they can say, oh yes, we would have done something different if we had known about the relationship. Well, you knew about John Barilaro's secret relationships. You knew about these secret relationships with these other MPs and you took no action. So it's going to undermine the credibility of anyone and everyone who's lined up at ICAC and any other future court proceedings against her. It also does another thing in that she's saying she withheld it, withheld the knowledge of that relationship she was having with Narelle Maguire. She's going to sit back and say, well, others were doing it too. So it doesn't make, so in the public's eyes, she doesn't look quite as bad. But anyhow, let's have a listen to that tape first from ICAC.
Conflict of interest that I believe is of concern was that Ms. Berejiklian and Mr. Maguire were in a relationship.
Mr. Barilaro, over your time in Parliament, did you disclose to the Premier all intimate personal relationships that you had?
I would have, yes.
You say you would have. Did you do so?
Well, I suppose on our pecuniary interest forms, we've got to disclose assets or income or connections to trusts that include family members like my wife or my kids or other family members. Those disclosures are done in accordance to the ministerial code.
What about any other intimate personal relationships, Mr. Barilaro?
I don't think that is a normal... that's a hard question because my relationship were with my family. So that's a hard one to disclose.
Now you just heard the tape where Sophie Callan has hit John Barilaro up 3 times. First she asked him, did you fail to declare intimate personal relationships? And he's ducked and weaved and thought he got away with it and said, I would have. And she's gone, no, not would you have, did you? And he's ducked and weaved again. Then she's hit him up with a 3rd time. Did you declare intimate personal relationships, any other intimate personal relationships? And he stumbled. And he stumbled because he knew he was in a lot of trouble. He knew exactly what she was referring to. And ultimately says that's a difficult question to answer, which it wasn't difficult at all. Now, wait for Thursday and Friday for Gladys to be in there. I can tell you now, the other, John Barilaro at the very least, and almost guaranteed other MPs and senators in the New South Wales Upper House will all be sweating from now to when Gladys hops in the witness stand, wondering if she's going to name them as having intimate relationships that they haven't declared. Now, the key word there when Sophie Callan was cross-examining John Barilaro is intimate. You know, it's not a close personal relationship. You can have a close personal relationship with friends and whoever. Intimate was a key word. And John knew exactly what she was talking about, the barrister, when she was asking the questions, but he was ducking and weaving. And I published a video on this on October the 4th in relation to all the reasons John Barilaro resigned. And I published an article on my website with the same name on the October 5th. And I'll just cut to this piece of that video in relation to some of the evidence that points to John Barilaro having multiple affairs. The defamation case that's currently before the courts where John Barilaro is suing Friendly Geordies. Jordan Shanks, the owner of that YouTube channel. Now, when they sent the concerns notice, they raised allegations of numerous affairs. Jordan Shanks has done a video where he's rung John Barilaro and asked him whether he's had affairs or not, and John Barilaro has hung up. Now, that's part of the reason they sent the concerns notice saying, look, we're going to sue you for this, because that's insinuated that he'd had affairs. But when it comes to the actual lawsuit, when they instituted proceedings, that part dropped off. Now, my understanding is the reason it dropped off is because they were concerned some of the women that he allegedly had affairs with would give evidence. And that would have been highly embarrassing, one, and two, it would have lost him the lawsuit. And that's part of the reason why he's resigned. That rumour's been floating around for a number of weeks. I'll show you the exact part of the concerns notice that was sent to Friendly Geordies, where it says in relation to the alleged affairs and how he's been defamed. But when it comes to the lawsuit, that disappears, which seems to be admission that he has had multiple affairs, one allegedly with a high-profile former journalist. Now, that video was from October 4th, and it's embedded in my article on October 5th on my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, so you can visit that and you can watch the full video and read the article. Now, I'll be publishing another article on Tuesday the 26th of October, so make sure you visit my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, and you can sign up for the free email notification. You'll be emailed a notification as soon as I have published a new article. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.